Greetings to everyone out there in the No DQ galaxy. Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Monday Night Raw for January 13th, 2020. We have the Royal Rumble coming up very soon. And on this show, we had some interesting developments to set up not just the Royal Rumble, but also upcoming editions of Monday Night Raw. So let's go ahead and get started with the recap. We had the introduction of the show. Randy Orton came out. He was scheduled for a match against the phenomenal AJ Styles. Orton cut a promo. Crowd was really into Randy Orton. He got a big ovation, and he milked it for all it was worth. He did the Randy Orton pose. He called out AJ Styles. He said he was going to show AJ why he is a favorite to win the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble. AJ Styles came out and he said that out of the goodness of his heart, he had believed Orton when Orton came out with the injury that ended up being fake. AJ then talked about his version of the RKO, stating that his RKO was the best people have ever seen. It is, in fact, a phenomenal RKO. This led to Drew McIntyre coming out. That's right, Drew McIntyre coming out, interrupting what was supposed to be a one-on-one match. Drew made a little joke about how Orton and AJ were out there having an RKO measuring contest when the Claymore is bigger. Drew then said, why don't we make this a triple threat match? And we had ourselves a three-way match between AJ, Randy Orton, and Drew McIntyre. Right away, Anderson and Gallows tried to interfere, but they were quickly taken out by Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. After the commercial break, we had a Tower of Doom spot, and the crowd started chanting, "This is awesome." I was going to say that I feel like this crowd got pleased too easily. I mean, one Tower of Doom spot justifies "This is awesome" chants. Now, with that being said, I think it's better for the crowd to be into what they're seeing than to be dead. And I will say, the crowd in Kentucky for this show, they brought it. So, Kentucky, you guys made the WWE Universe proud tonight, bringing that energy and making the show pretty fun. So hats off to the people in Kentucky for being a good crowd. I'd rather they make noise than not make noise. So go ahead and chant "This is awesome." There were some moments on the show that I did think were really awesome, though. Tower of Doom spot, it was pretty good. But I don't know if I would say it was great. I'm not sure I would use that word or awesome to describe it. Anyways, back to the match. We had Randy Orton actually hitting a Styles clash on AJ Styles, but AJ kicked out. And then Randy Orton hit the RKO, was on the verge of winning when all of a sudden Drew McIntyre came in with the Claymore and stole the pin from Randy Orton. So Drew McIntyre victorious, pinning AJ Styles after Randy Orton did the work. And my main man, Hank Schrader on the shitter with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Hank. He says, "Hello, Aaron. I'm still your life, but WWE sucks." Sorry you feel that way, Hank Schrader on the shitter, but you still have the best username of all time, so I will say you're right. Anything you say, pretty much you could say anything in the super chat and I'll agree with you because you have the best username of all time. So we had a recap of last week with the big show, and we had Seth Rollins and the AOP interviewed. Rollins talked about how this fist fight that they're doing in the main event is an opportunity. And he talked about how he's the Messiah of Monday Night Raw and it's fate. Nothing can stop them. And then Rollins finished the promo by saying that he is going to show what happens when you do not embrace the vision of the Monday Night Messiah. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. He says, and this is off topic here, he says, do you want AEW to fire Brandy and the Dark Order? You don't need to fire anybody, but I think that Brandy should be doing something else, and I think Dark Order should just be dropped as a group, repackage some of those guys, do something different with them. But that's all I'll say about that. This is about Monday Night Raw, not AEW, so let's continue here. We had Ricochet defeat a very game Mojo Rawley. Not much to say about it. Recoil, 6:30. Ricochet picks up the win, and he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. I'm sure we're going to get some cool stuff with Ricochet. I'm wondering if we are going to see Ricochet and John Morrison do some fun stuff. Maybe with Kofi, we're going to have a bunch of crazy moments in the Royal Rumble. I'm really hopeful, like I've said before, I'm really hopeful that this Royal Rumble is one of the best ones in WWE history. I mean, it could be a lot of fun. Last year's was pretty good, and I think that this year has a lot of potential to be one of the most memorable Royal Rumbles. So we'll see if WWE can deliver with this pay-per-view. I'm looking forward to it personally. I think this could be a really good Rumble. I have a good feeling. Don't let me down, WWE. So we had the Street Profits backstage, talked about how it's Monday Night Smoke, and they made a joke about World Star and said a few other things. I really did not care that much. I'm over the Street Profits. Sorry, guys. I know some of you love them and you want the smoke, but I don't want the smoke. I really don't. We had a recap of what happened with Sarah Logan and Charlotte Flair. This was a rematch that they were having tonight from last week. Logan was stalling on the outside for a while. Charlotte went after her and then brought her back in the ring. Pretty quickly tapped her out with the figure 4 or figure 8, whatever she was doing. She tapped her out. And then after the match, Charlotte put on her robe. Feels like, I guess, we're just killing time until the Royal Rumble, but it feels like Charlotte doesn't really have like a major storyline right now. I mean, she's doing the stuff with Sarah Logan and she's going to be in the Rumble, but yeah, I feel like Charlotte needs to do something big in the Rumble, maybe even win the thing, because it feels like right now she's kind of almost getting lost in the shuffle on Raw, although it's basically been the Becky Lynch and Asuka show lately. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Charlotte does, in fact, win the Rumble and goes after Becky, and they have their final blow-off match at WrestleMania. We had Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens interviewed. They were a bit concerned about the rules of this fist fight. And then all of a sudden, Big Show showed up and told them not to worry because he's got his fist, and his fist is going to take care of business. We then had what was probably the best segment of the night. We had Brock Lesnar come out for another interview with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman insulted Kentucky, made fun of them, and then he started doing his introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. And everybody, of course, sang it along with him as they always do every week. And Paul Heyman called them out on it, and they were not pleased. They were not amused. They finally started booing Heyman. They booed Lesnar. They chanted, "You suck." And Heyman and Lesnar were like, to hell with this. They started to walk out, and then Heyman got back on the mic and said, "My client does not suck." And then the crowd started booing very heavily as Paul Heyman was trying to redo his introduction. I thought this was great. I loved how Heyman got the crowd to boo him while he's doing his promo shtick. Heyman brought up how there's a new streak. Brock Lesnar conquered the Undertaker's streak, but now there's a new streak, and that streak is Paul Heyman's spoiler streak. And he said that Brock is going to dominate the Royal Rumble. His spoilers and the truth shall set everyone free. And wait a minute, all of a sudden, R-Truth comes out. After all, he heard his name. Paul Heyman said the truth shall set you free. So R-Truth had to come out. He talked about how his childhood hero, John Cena, told him to never give up. and he officially announced that the 24/7 7-Eleven I-95 South champion will be entering the Royal Rumble match. And you could just see Paul Heyman's reaction in the background. I love it. Paul Heyman had this reaction of just total disgust at this announcement. And then R-Truth was like, I know you're a big man. Then he turned over, not at Brock Lesnar, but at Paul Heyman. It said that Paul Heyman will be flying over the top rope at the Royal Rumble. Heyman had to let R-Truth know, and I think he made some kind of pot reference to R-Truth. It said that R-Truth needs to know that it's actually Brock in the Royal Rumble and not Paul Heyman himself. R-Truth was like, my bad, and then officially undeclared himself for the Royal Rumble match. And R-Truth admitted he actually didn't hear all that stuff that Paul Heyman said because Paul Heyman just likes to talk a lot. And R-Truth did say that he doesn't like spoilers and he doesn't want to go to Sioux Falls City. Ha ha ha. And then he asked Brock Lesnar, what's up? Brock Lesnar showed him what's up, and that was destruction, a beatdown of R-Truth. Lesnar told him that's what's up on the mic, left the ring, and then after the commercial break, Mojo Rawley pinned R-Truth to win the 24/7 title. And I'm like, I don't care about the 24/7 title anymore. This would have been a great opportunity for Paul Heyman or Brock Lesnar to win the title. I like TJS's idea. Brock could beat R-Truth for the title, and then you have these vignettes of wrestlers trying to go to Brock Lesnar's home out in the middle of nowhere in the plains and try to beat him, and Paul Heyman is there, and you could do all sorts of fun stuff. Or you could have Paul Heyman win the title, and every week Brock comes out with the WWE title, and Paul Heyman has the 24/7 title, but nobody's up for trying to get it from Heyman because Brock's always with him. So it's like nobody has the guts to try and beat Paul for it. So I think they could have done something really fun with Lesnar or Heyman winning the 24/7 title. Instead, it goes to Mojo Rawley, and I'm like, nah, doesn't really excite me all that much. Michael with a $2 super chat. Michael Kionis says, Nia Jax surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble match. I could definitely see that as a possibility. I don't know if she's ready to go, but it seems like she's pretty close. So I think it's a possibility. I would not say it's 100% certain. I would not be surprised if she does show up as a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble as her big return. So next up we had earlier in the day footage shown of Bob the Lash and Lana arriving at the building, and Lana talked about how their wedding was ruined by Rusev, and the footage was shown from 2 weeks ago, and she said everyone's jealous of their success and their love, and now they are going to crush Rusev. We had Lashley one-on-one with Rusev. Rusev was trash talking a little bit, saying, come on, Bob. There was no Liv Morgan out there, by the way. Rusev eventually made a comeback after Lashley speared him on the outside. And then Rusev hit the kick, went for the accolade, and then all of a sudden, Lana gets up on the apron and stupid babyface alert. Rusev doesn't put the hold on. He just stands up. Why not just put the hold on? What's Lana going to do? Is she going to get in the ring and attack him? Fine. Lashley gets DQ'd. Rusev wins. Why does Rusev stand up because Lana gets on the apron? Stupid babyface. I hate when WWE books the babyfaces to be complete idiots. Can't even talk. That's how wired up I get when I think about it. Lashley got up. They ended up double clotheslining each other, Rusev and Lashley. And then that's when Liv Morgan, who I thought was supposed to be in Rusev's corner all along, she came out and she dared Lana to do something, and Lana did something. She grabbed a fan's drink in the crowd and threw it in Liv's face, and then threw Liv into the barricade. And while this was all going on, Rusev got distracted again, like an idiot, and Lashley doesn't. Lashley, the heel, doesn't get distracted by any of this. Rusev, the big dumb idiot, gets distracted not once, but twice, and then gets hit with a spear in the ring. Lashley picks up the victory. Man, did they ever make Rusev look like a complete fool? And what about Liv? Like, this almost reminds me of, what's her name? The woman Catalina or something that was with Sin Cara. And she comes out and she just looks like a fool her first week in. It's like the same thing with Liv. You bring her out and she doesn't even help Rusev win the match. She actually costs Rusev the match. And anyways, after the match, there's more to this. It's not over yet. Lashley said there's still a big problem. And then Lana talked about how Liv needs to be dealt with. And Lana officially challenged Rusev and Liv Morgan to a mixed tag team match on next week's show. And Lashley was actually not happy with this because he already beat Rusev. Why does he need to beat him again? I guess next week Rusev and Liv win, but man, I just wasn't a fan with how this all went down with Rusev, just making him look like a complete moron and Liv being outwitted by Lana. Like, come on now. So anyways, moving on here. We had the Viking Raiders come out. They issued a challenge to anybody to try and put them down. Calls out any team to come out there, and the Singh brothers come out. And, yeah, not much to it, you know. Viking experience, Singh brothers easily put away. The problem right now is that you really have nobody to feud with the Vikings because they pretty much beat any relevant team on Raw. I mean, the only team left is AOP, and I think that WWE should save that for WrestleMania. But in the meantime, you got nothing much for the Vikings to do. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, who will be the world champion first, Rusev or Lashley? Probably neither. If I had to make a prediction, I don't think either of them are going to be winning a WWE championship. Now, if Rusev leaves WWE, I could see him maybe becoming champion wherever he goes, whether it's AEW or Impact. So going off of that, I guess I'd say Rusev, but I don't think it's going to be in WWE. Just saying. Backstage, we had Rusev and Liv accepting the challenge for next week. Rusev said they're a waste of breath, and Liv said that she is the living embodiment of karma for Lana, and she is a bitch. Then we had the contract signing. 2 weeks into 2020, and we already have a contract signing. You know, guys, I made a wish. Before the new year, I had one of those silent wishes. And now I'm going to say it because it did not come true. I mean, you're not supposed to tell your wishes to people because then it doesn't come true. I wished that there would be no more contract signings in wrestling, especially WWE, in the new decade. 2 weeks in, and my wish did not come true. So anyways, we had this contract signing for Becky Lynch versus Asuka at the Royal Rumble. Kairi Sane was out there. She had an umbrella. She taunted Becky with the umbrella. And then they signed the contract. Becky was like, may the best woman win. And that's when Asuka spit the green mist in Becky's face. Becky was screaming in pain from the mist. Officials were out there trying to help her. They were cleaning her face with a towel. And then Becky demanded the mic. She cut a promo. She admitted that Asuka's the most dangerous person she's encountered. However, Asuka is bringing out this badness inside of Becky that is going to rise up. And if she goes down at the Royal Rumble, she's going to go down swinging, and she's going to bring Asuka with her. I thought the promo was good. I liked the mist angle. I thought that was well done. But did we really need a contract signing segment? I guess WWE felt it was warranted for this particular segment. But yeah, no, I'm so over the contract signing stuff. At least they didn't break the table. I mean, that just became a complete cliche, and they've avoided doing that for the last couple of them. It was announced that next week we will have a ladder match between Andrade and Rey Mysterio for the United States title. Should be a lot of fun. Andrade and Zelina cut a promo, and Zelina talked about how they are going to file a criminal report against Rey Mysterio because of his attack on Andrade last week, and said that Mysterio is a disgrace to Latinos everywhere and a terrible example to his son Dominic. Then we had Rey Mysterio interviewed about the match. He said that it was no joke that Andrade injured the young upstart Humberto Carrillo. And then Mysterio talked about how he loves the idea of the ladder and he will sacrifice years of his life and his career for this ladder match. And Rey vowed to become the new U.S. champion on next week's show. We had a recap of Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy, their first two matches. This was the third match that they had, the trilogy. They had their stare down, and at one point Murphy tried to use the tights. Referee saw it though. Both guys almost got counted out at one point. They both got back in the ring. Crowd was really into the match, giving them a standing ovation. Murphy hit the Murphy's Law, but Black got his foot on the rope, and then Buddy tried to hit the Black Mass. And by the way, the biggest mistake a heel can make is trying to do the babyface's finisher. It never works. You look back in history, it always backfires. And sure enough, it did this time. Aleister hit the Black Mass. 1, 2, 3. No, wait a minute. Not yet. So Aleister hit Black Mass. He covered Buddy Murphy. It was 1, 2, and the referee stopped the count. According to the announcers, the referee saw Buddy's shoulder go up. I looked back on it. No shoulder went up, at least from what we could see. No shoulder went up. His foot went up a little bit, but that does not mean it's a kick out if his foot goes up. It's the shoulder that has to go off the mat for it to officially be recognized as a kick out. So it looked like a botch. If it was designed for Buddy to kick out to make him look strong, this was not executed very well. But I guess because the announcer said it was a kick out, technically Buddy Murphy is the first person on the main roster to kick out of the Black Mass. Such a shame. So what makes me think it was a botch is because they immediately went to another Black Mass and the match was over. So there you go. Buddy Murphy loses 3 times to Aleister Black, which, was probably for the best. I felt bad for Buddy, but there was a follow-up to this with Buddy. So stay tuned here for a minute. We had Eric Rowan come out for a match with an enhancement talent. Buddy was sitting out there all distraught about his loss, his third loss. Rowan went into his cage and acted like he was going to grab whatever was in there, but then apparently the thing in the cage bit his hand. And that just angered Rowan even more. He went back in the ring. He finished off his opponent, and that was that. Then we had the main event. Big Show came out for his intro. He was attacked from behind, and then Joe and Owens came out, and the match just began with total chaos, kendo sticks, weapons. The rules of the street fight, basically, it was a last man standing match, no DQ, no countouts, no DQs, all that stuff. And the referee would determine when one team is completely unable to continue. That was the rule of the match, the main rule, that all 3 guys would have to be totally incapacitated for the match to be over. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you really don't have much time here. Like, this match started about 10 minutes before the top of the hour. So it's like, well, if you're doing the match like this, feels like it's going to be really rushed. And it was. I mean, it was total chaos, bodies flying around. Kevin Owens had this awesome moment where he actually ran up the screen, which is, shaped like one of those skateboard ramps. He ran up the screen and did this dive onto AOP. I thought that was awesome. That justifies a "This is awesome" chant, what Kevin Owens did. I would say the spot of the night was what Kevin Owens did. And Michael with the $2 super chat says, Al Snow's head in the cage. Who knows? Maybe it will be Al Snow. Maybe it's the remains of Pepper. Maybe Pepper was brought back to life, Al Snow's dog. I mean, there could be any number of weird angles that we could get out of this Rowan thing. But anyways, back to the main event here. Samoa Joe did a senton through the table, looking like the baby faces were going to prevail when we had Kevin Owens do the dive, and then Joe did the senton. Back over by the ring, you had Buddy Murphy still out there distraught, and Seth Rollins started asking Buddy for help. Rollins was looking for assistance. Big Show got Seth Rollins. He hit the choke slam on Rollins, and then Buddy Murphy with the low blow to Big Show, and then Big Show gets put through the table and back over by the announcers. Kevin Owens gets powerbombed by AOP through a table which had Samoa Joe laid out on the table. So both Owens and Joe taken out by AOP, and then back in the ring, it's everybody against Big Show. AOP powerbomb Big Show, and then the big stomp from Seth Rollins, and finally the referee decides it's over. Babyfaces cannot continue. I like this angle. I thought that this was well done. A nice way to keep Buddy Murphy relevant after 3 losses to Aleister Black. You know, he's really distraught. He needs a new direction. So he hooks up with Seth Rollins and makes Rollins' faction even stronger now. So I thought that this was a really good ending to Raw. The main event did feel very rushed, but I did enjoy the stuff that they did, and I liked the angle with Buddy Murphy. I thought that was well done. Plus, he kicked out of the Black Mass, so you better be doing something with Buddy Murphy, or kicked out of the Black Mass. The Game is on 100 with a $5 super chat says, I knew the Asuka and Becky contract signing would be Asuka misting Becky. Murphy joining Rollins and AOP is interesting, and the Owens-Joe show, will they get a 4th man now? Who? Well, I mean, you could always have Aleister Black as the 4th guy on the babyface team. Would not shock me if WWE does book that match for next week or 2 weeks from now. I could definitely see that as a possibility, where WWE books an 8-man tag team match. Just, you know, that's something that's pretty typical of WWE. So anyways, what did you guys think about Raw this week? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? What were your thoughts? Give me your letter grade in the chat room. I thought it was a solid Raw. I thought it was one of the better Raws in a while, actually. So I'm going to give Raw a solid B. I think that maybe if the whole Aleister Black thing with the Black Mass wasn't such a mess, maybe I would have even gone B+. But yeah, I thought for a 3-hour show it was pretty enjoyable for the most part. Let's see what you guys thought in the chat room. Chris Mace gives it a B-. Colin Andrew with a solid B. Lewis with a D, so he did not like it. Santos with a B+. Mike B with a C+. CC Drink with a B. The 90s guy with a B. And Mark's Reviews with a B+. And Time runs out with an A+. And Harley with a B-. Psycho Jet Black with a C. Brian says a C, had some storyline build. So overall, pretty good letter grades for Monday Night Raw this week. And Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, will WWE ever use War Games on the main roster? I think that depends on Vince, and I know Vince doesn't like to use ideas that he did not create. Triple H, on the other hand, I think he's cool with whatever. In an NXT, Triple H can have more say in what happens. I mean, Vince still has the final say, but since NXT is not the main roster, Vince is probably like, whatever. I think we'll see it someday, but I think it'll be when Triple H has more of a final say with the main roster stuff than he does now. And another thing about Raw, too, the crowd was really good, and the crowd definitely can make a show better and sometimes make a good show worse, depending on the reactions. And I agree. J-Spin 401, the Kentucky crowd helped the show. All right, guys, so I will go ahead and wrap this video up. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you check out my recap of NXT UK, as well as my thoughts on the Tessa Blanchard situation. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com. Monday was a very busy news day. Tuesday, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fallout from Impact. And we got AEW coming up on Wednesday with NXT. And on Thursday, another reminder, we got the No DQ review going live for the first time ever, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. What will Virtue say when he's in a live environment? What will Robbie Vice say? Because they are very opinionated, and when there's no second take, there's no editing, what will they say unfiltered? Make sure you guys tune in. Hell, I might even be motivated to say something that I might not normally say on my own when I have other people I'm talking to. So we'll see how it goes. It could be a crazy live stream. But before I go here, Ken Terminated by Google with a $2 super chat says, did you see my $10 super chat? If you sent one tonight, I did not see it, Ken. So my apologies on that. If you're talking about one from a previous video, you'll have to let me know which video it was. Anyways, guys, thank you all again for watching. I appreciate the viewership and support, and I will see you all next time.